Okay, originally this was going to be a review, but I just have to rant here because I've played every Final Fantasy to an extent. Even the ones that I think are god awful, like Final Fantasy 1 or Final Fantasy 5 or Final Fantasy, well, let's just say those two are really bad. But I played at least 5-6 hours before I was just like, I can't take this shit anymore. But Final Fantasy 13 Part 3, Lightning Returns, the longest damn title ever in a fucking game, has struck a new chord for me. It was a thing of boredom in an RPG, and I mean, it's common for a lot of folks, but not me. I played some of the most boring RPGs in my entire life. I got through Kingdom Hearts 2's intro, and I got through Lost Odyssey's intro without being bored the first time, and that's pretty amazing. And I played this and I'm just like, this is so boring. And let me describe things that I really don't like about the game. I guess you can call this a review in a way, because I'm going to talk about the battle system and so on. But let me tell you the worst part about this entire game is the story. Final Fantasy 13 had a pretty melodramatic bullshit silly story, but it was at least there. And Final Fantasy 13 2 just decided to do all this fucking time warping, time traveling shit, and it wasn't really important. Who gives a shit? We just kind of went by. But Final Fantasy 13 Part 3 Lightning Returns is probably the most nonsense. The story drove me in fucking insane. In the first 10 minutes I was shouting at the TV, right babe? She went, in case you couldn't hear. But it just drove me insane. And I'll tell you why. Here's the story in my mind of what they were telling me. Basically, God is just like, yo, the world's done in 13 days. Lightning's like, well, I'm Jesus, so I'm going to save the people. But you can't, because the world is ending in 13 days. It's clarified in the beginning. It's over. They give you 6 days because God is like getting pissed off, but Lightning's going to make 13 days. Okay, the reason Lightning has become Jesus, the reason why she is God's bitch right now and accepts his fucking fate of 13 days in the world's ending, is to bring Sarah back. So let me get this straight. Lightning is trying to bring Sarah back into a world that is ending in 13 days. What the fuck? Why would you bring someone back only for them to die anyway? And this is the only reason Lightning is doing this, because she has no fucking emotion. She's fucking a lame ass piece of shit character. But that's besides the point. The point is, the story makes no fucking sense. And everybody that was your friend is now not your friend, except Hope, who somehow became a fucking kid again, even though he's an adult. I'm just so fucking fed up with this shit. Who the fuck writes this shit? Does anybody sit down and say, this is a good story? When they put this in a draft, and the creator of Final Fantasy sits there and reads this, does he say, love it? Who would say that shit? Does anybody here watching this actually say this is a good story? Anybody? No. But people are like, this is a video game, Whitey. We don't care about a story. How's the game? Well, let me clarify. In an RPG, a story is a very important aspect of the game. Unless the combat is so fucking flawless that you don't give a shit about the story, which is very rare in an RPG. But let's say for some reason that I would completely ignore this story that's a piece of shit, even though it's shoved in my fucking face every 10 seconds. Okay, let's talk about the combat. What I don't like about it, there's no fucking reward system, really. It just feels like I'm fucking playing an arcade game, and it gives you a sense, like they tell you, oh, here's the freedom to move around in the field, but there is no real freedom. You can't really move around in the field. You could move, but what the fuck is the point? You can't dodge an attack. You either fucking click the X button to guard, or you attack with Y or B or whatever game system you're playing it on. And there's just no point to it. Why give you an illusion of freedom of fucking gameplay? Don't get this mixed up with Final Fantasy 15, which I'm assuming is going to actually be freedom in the gameplay. Or don't get this mixed up with Kingdom Hearts. This is strictly this is Final Fantasy 12, but even less freedom than that shit, because you move so goddamn slow on the battlefield. There is no fucking point to even move on the battlefield. And the combat just feels unsatisfying. You're basically doing the same attacks over and over again, and it's boring as fuck, because the only party member you have is Lightning. She is the single one character, and it's just stupid as shit, and not really fun. Also, let's talk about this. The whole, like, oh, we're gonna mix Final Fantasies with other genres. Let's make their stealth section. That shit sucks. And let's make it, let's do this cool other shit like jumping. That shit doesn't even, it fucking is like floating when you jump. It's terrible. And you're really using certain spots to get a treasure chest. It's not platforming. And the combat, let's make it seamless. Except you still have to hit the fucking enemy outside of combat to get into the fucking battle mode. I mean, really? If Final Fantasy 12 did it on PS2, what the fuck? I mean, it's just silly. Okay, so now we got all that out of the way. Let's talk about the fact that Lightning's powers get stronger with certain costumes or whatever, right? It seems the more naked you get, the stronger you get. Okay, well, that's fucking Japanese logic, I guess. I don't really know. But the point is that it's ridiculous that she's dressed so fucking almost naked with a skirt that's like up to her vagina, and it's like all of a sudden she's super fucking Saiyan? I mean, what? It's just ridiculous. And let's also talk about the fact that the graphics haven't really improved from Final Fantasy 13-2. I would actually argue that 13-2 has a better graphic system than this. Because when I'm running around the city, it looks like shitty shit. And I really do not like this game. And let me tell you why. As if you didn't already understand. Final Fantasy is a series that I hold dear. It is my heart and soul in some ways. It is what got me into gaming. Final Fantasy 7, masturbated over it, played it hours beyond hours. I fucking beat the game like 6 times. Loved it. Final Fantasy 12, another game I spent actually 72 hours in a span of a week, which when I was in high school, I cut a lot, and that was my life. Not cut like cut myself, but cut school. And that was what I played and rapped. And this was everything to me. So when I play Final Fantasy, I want that feeling back, you know, of sitting there, I'm in the fantasy world with wizards and shit, and I'm fucking leveling up my characters, getting new armor, not fucking be a scampy bitch with no emotion who sucked into a fucking shitty ass world, solving fucking crime puzzles and shit in the first 30 minutes with the most stupid fucking story I've ever seen. I mean, I would argue that fucking the dialogue is horrible. Kelly was sitting watching this like, what the fuck's this corny shit? And I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of anime. So you gotta really fucking be horrible for me to say you're fucking horrible. And this is pretty fucking horrible. We played Tales of Exilia, and Tales, you know, they get a lot of shit for bad dialogue. But guess what? That had better dialogue than this. I could write a better script than this, by far. This is a really bad script. But that's besides the point. My whole point, this is a 7-minute rant, and you're probably like, I don't want to hear this shit anymore. It sucks. And I refuse to say to buy it. I really think this is probably one of the worst Final Fantasies I've ever actually played. It's terrible. It's awful. It's bad. It's a bad start to the year. I'm upset. It's terrible. Fuck this shit. Battle of Z sucked. Is there no good games coming out? Wait, there is. Lord of Shadows 2. It's going to be excellent. My titties are ready. But that is all I got to say. Final Fantasy, you're a horrible, bad game. Developers watching this, don't shut down my channel because you're upset that I said your game needs to improve. Fuck it. I'm done.